Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, this is Wisdom Talks, and we're going to get right into it today. So, the last video we talked about the delusion of limerence and kind of, you to try to figure out if you're in limerence or not. This video is pretty much going to be how to break free from limerence and how you can get out of that cycle because it's a vicious cycle. Okay, so I came up with an updated version of a definition of limerence. All right. So I wrote limerence is an intense, obsessive form of romantic infatuation where the person can become emotionally preoccupied with strong desires for reciprocation, right? And pretty much your emotional system, it depends on this person to reciprocate the energy back. All right. So here are some signs that you might be in limerence. I'm just going to go over them again in case you didn't see the first video. So I wrote constantly thinking about them. So the next one is overanalyzing text and interacting with them, right? Extreme highs when they give you attention, when they give you validation. Extreme lows when they ghost you, they pull back, they disappear. Um, Fantasizing about a future that is not grounded in reality. That is a big sign that you are in limerence. All right. Craving reciprocation from them. Desperately craving reciprocation from them. Okay. So if you are in limerence, right? How do you break free? How do you get out of the cycle? Because the cycle is very vicious. It can keep going and going and going. And just like I talked about in the first video, a lot of times you will create certain things in your mind. So when you start to wake up to the limerence, when you start to realize that you are in limerence and you start to kind of see the pattern yourself, right? Because a lot of times when you start to notice that you're in limerence is when you realize that you are not getting the reciprocation back. You realize that everything is one-sided, right? When that happens, a lot of times you will start to start to wake up, right, for a second where you're like, you know what, maybe this is not it, maybe this is not that, maybe I'm wrong about this, right? That happens where you'll have these little moments where you'll wake up, and then a lot of times once you start to wake up, you'll start to see more signs. You'll get the dreams, you'll get the numbers, you'll get the car, the name. You'll start to see all these different things where it connects you back to the person. So you'll feel like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I was wrong, maybe I was right this whole time, maybe this is right. But what you don't realize is that you are creating the signs with your mind, because what we focus on is what grows. So if you are thinking about something constantly over and over and over again, that's what's going to grow. So you're going to see the name, you're going to see the car, you're going to see the numbers, you're going to see these little signs that'll connect you back to keeping you in that cycle. Okay. So that is a big sign of, you being in limerence. And that's why limerence can last for such a long time, right? Because you'll get little scraps here and there that'll keep you hooked. And the uncertainty of it all is the drug, is the addiction, right? Just needing to know, am I wrong? Is this one-sided, right? So how do you break free from the limerence? Okay. First things first, you need to remove all uncertainty. You need to remove the uncertainty, okay? So the mixed signals, the hot and cold, then the confusion of it all. All right. Limerence keep you stuck because of the confusion, because of the uncertainty, you not having a for certain answer, you not knowing for sure is what keeps you in the loop, because you're constantly trying to figure out, you're trying to get to an end. Right, but there's no end. There is no end to the limerence because you don't realize that you created the limerence on your own. You've done it all on your own. Okay, the person has never giving you the certainty or the validation, right? That they feel the same way. So you have created this whole narrative all by yourself. So that's why only you, right? You are the only person who can undo that. You have to get yourself out of that. All right. You have to what's the word? You have to completely unveil everything, see things for what it is. So you have to remove the uncertainty. You have to remove the fuel around the limerence. Okay, that's the only way. The only way to get rid of limerence is you have to starve it out. You have to starve yourself out of this, because this can become an addiction. Okay, so I wrote, your nervous system stays hooked because it is chasing clarity. Yes, that's what I just said pretty much. So your nervous system is stuck in this cycle because it needs to get to an end. It needs to get to an answer. Because most of the times, by the time you realize you're even in limerence, you're already too deep, right? It's kind of like when you go into a pool, right? Or you go into an ocean and you're just walking, you're walking until you realize, oh snap, I'm in the middle of the ocean. I'm halfway through. I'm way further than I even realized. That is what limerence is like. So it's pretty much a sense where you, by the time you realize you're in it, you're already so in it. You've already developed the feelings and the emotions. So it's kind of hard for you to back up out of that, because now you done built up so much. You need this person to give you the certainty and the clarity, but it's never going to happen. Okay, so that's why you get so attached, because your nervous system is attached to the outcome. Okay, so I wrote, you need to cut off the dopamine triggers. Okay, you need to cut the fuel off. You need to starve the limerence out, the obsession. You need to starve the addiction out. Okay, stop checking the social medias. All right, the stories, the post, anything. You need to completely starve yourself of looking for this person. All right, you need to stop. All right, and another thing is you need to stop looking for the signs. Okay, stop looking for the signs. You might go through a thing where you might like see the name a lot. You might see their name, or you might hear their name from different people, and you're thinking that that's a sign. Just literally starve it out. Act like you don't hear it. Act like you don't see it, and just keep doing that until you really don't hear it and you don't see it. Okay, if you're seeing the car, you're seeing the numbers, just act like you don't see it. Act like you don't. Is just don't associate nothing. Just don't associate nothing with the person. All right, you need to starve the limerence out. That's the only way you're going to get out of it. Because if not, you are going to keep going down this loop for a long time. Okay, so stop checking the social media. Completely disappear. All right, disappear from the socials. Stop rereading old text messages. Stop reliving small moments, small interactions that you might have had with the person. You need to starve that out as well. Delete. All right. I am big on deleting. I am big on completely clearing out a thread. Delete and block. All right. Don't cut all access off to the person, because at this point, if you are feeling like you are in limerence, then obviously it's a one-sided thing. So you need to delete and block. Don't leave the room open for, oh, maybe, maybe this person can reach out to me. Maybe it could be a thing. No, you need to delete and block, and you need to completely let it go. Okay. Let the biggest thing with limerence is you need to let the hope of it all go. You that's the hardest part, because you want to keep hope alive. You want to think that you want to think, wow, I don't want to think I was just delusional. I don't want to think that I was thinking this and it wasn't that. But you need to come to reality that that's exactly what it is. Okay, because if you don't be real with yourself, you're going to keep going down the same cycle. You're going to keep making the same mistake. And you're going to look up, it's going to be another year, and then another year, and another year. You're going to still be going through the same loop with your own self. So yes, that was the next thing I wrote, which is no contact, completely cut everything, ties, anything off that can link to the person, because that's the only way you're going to get out of it. Okay, so completely disappear from this person's existence and erase them from your existence. All right, physically. The next thing I wrote is separate fantasy from reality. So the biggest part of limerence is that you might create false fantasies of the future in your mind. You are thinking that maybe one day it could be this. Maybe one day it could be that, right? Maybe one day they could wake up and see your worth and see your value. But let me tell you something. If somebody can meet you and get your vibe and feel you and be around you and see all of you, and they don't feel your vibe and they don't appreciate you, then they not worthy of your time and of your effort and of your love. All this attention and all of this time that you spend thinking about the person, wanting the person, wishing for the person, all right, they don't even deserve that because they don't even see your value or your worth. So you have to realize that and you have to get grounded in that, okay? Separate fantasy from reality. Stop telling yourself what if, stop telling yourself if, stop telling yourself one day. That is the biggest thing with limerence is you tell yourself one day. No, there is no one day. There is no days, okay? There is no days. It's done. It's over. Block, delete, and disappear, all right? The next thing I wrote is you need to reclaim your power. This is the biggest way of how you get out of limerence. You need to fill your void. Okay, limerence comes very severely and deeply because you have a void on the inside and you're not realizing it. So you might have a void of abandonment. Okay, you might feel once you guys stop talking, you might have felt triggered emotionally. Oh my goodness, I'm not good enough, right? A lot of times abandonment issues is just triggered to self-worth. So if you have abandonment issues, a lot of times you have self-worth issues. So you need to heal that part of you. Okay? Stop allowing this person to be the source of if you are worthy or not. Who cares if a person leaves? Who cares if a person disappears from your life if they don't choose you? You should be choosing you. You should be saying that you are good enough. So that's the biggest thing with staying in limerence is filling that void. Once you, and like I said in the last video, a lot of times you don't realize these things are in you until something like this happens, right? Until you go through this deep pain with this thing that you can't figure out, right? But all of the time and energy that you're wasting on trying to figure something out with this, you could be figuring out what's going on with you. Okay, so heal that void, the void of self-worth, all right, the void of not being chosen, okay, the void of abandonment issues. Heal those childhood traumas so that when something like this happens, right, you won't fall into something like this, all right? Most of the times when people fall into an obsession of some type of sort is because something in their life is void, null and void. Okay, for me personally, I've always had abandonment issues and issues with my self-worth. So I've always had issues with someone leaving, right? That's a hard thing to swallow. Nobody wants anybody to come in and then leave. But you have to realize that humans are just humans and we all have free will. So anytime someone leaves you, you're just going to feel like you're not worthy. You're going to feel low about yourself. No, you're going to heal that so that you don't fall into things like this, because this can be as severe as an addiction. And I keep saying that because it's a real thing. All right. So the next thing I wrote is, yes, I just said that about filling the void. You feel it with an obsession. Okay. You feel the limerence. The limerence goes on for so long, right? Because there's something missing within inside of yourself. People who are whole within themselves, they don't fall into limerence. All right. They just don't, because they know themselves. They feel worthy within. Okay. The next thing I wrote is you need a new routine. You need something to fill that up. Okay, so the time and the energy that you spend on trying to figure this out, on trying to seeing the signs, on trying to decode every little thing, every little interaction, all right, you need to fill that up with something. So a good thing is working out. All right, take all that frustration and energy and pain into working out, into making yourself look better, into glowing up, right? Leveling up. We all hear this all the time, but it works, okay? So I put working out. Also, go out more. Go out, get some friends, meet other people, date, or, just be more social in the world. A lot of times when you fall into limerence, and this is another thing, don't get with your friends or get with other people and just keep talking about this situation, because most people can see what you can't see. So most people can see that you're in delusion, can see that the person don't really like you back. But a lot of times people not going to tell you that because they, for one, might just talk about you, right? Might just go to the next person and be like, oh, she's so crazy. Oh, he's so crazy. He's so stupid, right? Or for two, they might just not know how to tell you to your face that you are crazy. You are in a delusion. But the thing is, you're not really crazy. If somebody haven't gone through it, they won't understand. You're not crazy. You just need to be healed from within. That's all it is. Okay. So yes, go out, get some plans, start to fill your time in. And I know it can be hard. You might go out and you might think about the person. You might it's like a death. And the part that's the hardest about breaking the limerence is breaking the hope and the dream and the fantasy. Because the fantasy is real to you. And I get that. But the fantasy is not reality. So you have to realize that. And once you really come to terms with it, it is like a death. But I'm telling you, once you do it, it's such a freeing. You feel free. You feel like you can see clearly. And when you get out of it, you will look back and you will see how delusional you was. You will see how crazy you was. You will get it. But you got to do the work. That's the only way you're going to break free out of limerence is if you do the work. So, and the next thing is personal goals. Start to fill yourself up with things that you love to do. Try new things, learn a new language, try a new hobby. Start to do things that bring you fulfillment. Okay, fulfillment. And also, a lot of times when you fall into limerence with someone, right, it might be something in them that you lack. Okay, so you might feel like, let's say, if the person that you really like, they are very assertive, right? And you might be the complete opposite, right? You might hold everything in. You might not know how to speak up for yourself. So you might be attracted to that assertiveness, right? The person could be very spontaneous, right? And maybe you are the opposite. Maybe you're not spontaneous at all. Okay? You don't know how to get out of your own way. So I would suggest you to look at the things that this person that attracts you to the person so that you can start to work on that part of yourself so that you can build that up. So then you'll realize once you start to gain the quality that this person has that you're very attracted to, you'll realize that, like I said in the last video, half the time you don't really like the person and you're not really compatible with them. You just think you are because you're missing something. I have to keep saying you are missing something in your life. That is the only time you fall into limerence. Okay, so personal goals. Set goals for yourself and start to achieve them. And the more you start to do that, the more and more the limits will break off. Okay, um, shift your mindset. Okay, that goes into the whole thing of getting out of the fantasy and into the reality, into what they are showing you. Who is this person in real time? Not words, okay? Not just, oh, you this and you that, and not the highs of the person, right? You really need to look at the lows. How does this make you feel when this person ghosts or when this person doesn't give you the validation? How does that make you feel on the inside? You need to sit with that. All right. Don't just focus on the highs of the person. Don't just focus on the good part of the person. Look at what the person is showing you on the majority of the time. Okay. That is how you shift your mindset around it. All right. So you need to realize, is this something that you want for the rest of your life? Do you want to stay in it? Is this what you want? Do you want somebody that's not choosing you? Do you want somebody that's not giving you what you need, which is consistency, love, validation, showing up for you, right? Meaning what they say, not just saying stuff, but actually meaning what they say, actually backing up words with actions. Okay, so that goes into shifting your mindset around it. You need to look at, is this something you even really want permanently, right? Yes. So the last thing I wrote was that your nervous system gets attached because you need to feel, you need the uncertainty, it attaches you to this, to the limerence, pretty much, to the person, right? So your nervous system is just looking to get the fulfillment of the reciprocation. But you got to realize that it's not worth it. All right, it's not worth it. You chasing validation, or you looking for someone to choose you, it's not worth it, because all it's going to do is cause you long-term trauma. That's trauma that you're going to have to get out of. All of those times where you felt unworthy or low, you already probably are dealing, you already dealing with that already. And now this person is triggering it for you even more, to the nines, to the tens. Okay, so the longer you stay in this and you don't acknowledge what it is, the more work you're going to have to do on yourself when you get out of this. All right, when you are in limerence for a long time, you're going to have a lot of work to do, because you're going to have to build your self-esteem back up. You're going to have to build that security within yourself back up. So you got to realize that this uncertainty is just a drug. It's just like an addiction, okay? You're going to have withdrawals. You're going to be sad. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be crying. Some days you're going to be okay with it. You're going to go through all the ups and downs. But if you just do the work, and if you acknowledge what it is, and if you pray, right? We always have to pray. We always have to acknowledge God and ask him to help us. Ask him to help you get out of this. Because if not, if you try to do it on your own, it's going to be rough. So I hope that this helped you. All right. I hope that if you're in limerence, if you've been dealing with this for a while, and I'm not judging, because limerence can last for a long time. I looked it up and it said some people stay in limerence for up to 10 years. Imagine 10 years of your life going by and you finally realizing that you were in limerence all this time, and you thinking you're going crazy and nobody around you understanding. And that's another thing. When you're in limerence, a lot of time you are alone when you're going through it. So you don't really even know how to connect with people. You don't know how to tell people what you're going through. And if you are telling them what you're going through, they don't understand, right? They might think you're crazy or you just obsessed. Okay, so just realize that you can get out of it. You can heal this part of you. You can get out of the spiral and addiction. Okay, so I hope this helped you, and I hope that you take the steps needed to get free from this. All right, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so I'm Wisdom, and this is Wisdom Talks, and I will see you in the next talk.